Okay, we have more than one top story on the day today, and we have Ankur joining us from Terminal 2 of the Mumbai International Airport. Ankur, what are you picking up on ground where IndiGo is concerned? Give us a sense.
Yes, we are at T2 terminal of Mumbai to check a status of how much of the impact is there due to cancellation of a few of the flights by IndiGo, and also what are passengers saying currently. What we can see behind me, the operations are going on smoothly compared to what it had been in last few days. But more importantly, it's not that the normalcy has been restored. There are still cancellations. We know 9 today. And overall, if you talk about the impact, just in terms of statistics, we have been given around 40,000 passengers have been impacted due to cancellations. If you talk about the passengers who got impacted due to delays, it will come to 260,000 and counting. However, government is trying to restore the normalcy. When we try to ask how soon the normalcy will be restored to the Joint Secretary in a briefing which was held earlier today, we were told not a definitive timeline, but definitely government is working on it. If you talk about statistics, yes, that is improving. 70% normalcy restored. Till now, 90% of the baggages have been returned to the customers. But more importantly, an intimation has been given to IndiGo to inform 6 hours in advance if there are cancellations.
Okay, at least by the visuals, Ankur. Thanks for that. Seems like normalcy is somewhat, getting back at the airports. But let me welcome on board Shivangi Sarda, and we've got Sudeep Bandyopadhyay as well to chat about whether normalcy is going to come back to the markets anytime soon or not. Shivangi, hi, afternoon. The chop and churn clearly continues, and especially after yesterday's rough patch, it's nowhere better today. What's your reading on when or whether or not we could see a meaningful comeback by the Nifty per se? And I'm not even talking about the broader markets here. And if you think that the weakness is going to persist for some more days.
Very good afternoon, Aisha. Thank you for having me. So we've seen that, of course, the indices have faced the bloodbath from the last few trading sessions. And even after attempts of recovery above 26,000 levels, it hasn't been able to sustain those zones. And it has call writers have taken over the entire broader market. Overall, we are seeing good bounce back move from 25,750 levels where buying was seen. But then overall, we are expecting the index to remain a little bit lackluster, and 25,750 would be an important make or break zone here. If it manages to hold these levels, we could expect some bit of consolidation, and 26,000 will continue to be, the resistance for the immediate basis. But we are expecting some sort of, weakness to persist, as per the broader market or as far as the stocks specific action is concerned. So the recommendation would to be with strategy and to be with the heavyweight counters.
Okay. So what are your picks there for Shivangi?
So from today's market, of course, we have been seeing that Bharti Airtel is one of the strongest counters, and even despite the market volatility, this stock has been one which has kind of resiliently held on the weekly basis, and it is consistently trading in an upward sloping channel on the monthly frame as well. So this one's quite positive and looking, positive for the next upside move towards 2,200 odd levels. So buy here. And the stop loss would be 2,050 levels. And the second pick on my radar was Titan. We've seen that, of course, this stock has witnessed good amount of short covering today. And after the recent bend, we've seen that the stock has retraced from an important level. And even on the longer time frame, weekly basis, if we check, the stock has been moving quite well from the last 10 to 11 odd weeks. So quite positive, and we're expecting a good up move here, of course, with the seasonality as well. Stock kind of tends to do good in this quarter. So we're recommending a buy here with a target of 4,000 with a stop of 37.75 levels.
And of course, the big stock today and the big story today continues to remain IndiGo. And Sudeep joining us as well, of course. Sudeep, your view with regard to an Interglobe Aviation down nearly 20% now, nearly 20% since the start of this month. Opportunity to buy, you reckon? Nifty 50 counter, 60% plus market share. very difficult to erode, right?
Well, Harsh, I think the time hasn't yet come. There are still a lot of moving parts to it. Well, yes, it has corrected significantly over the last 7 days, and there is valid reason for that as well. There will be some regulatory action. There has to be. The situation is such that there has to be some regulatory action. They will be probably forced to cede some routes to competition. So it's a very, very volatile and fluid situation as far as IndiGo is concerned. There is no doubt they command 65% market share, and it's not easy to wish away. And I think government is, kind of deeply thinking, and will have to think about it. Permitting monopolistic situation in any industry which caters to millions of people is an extremely dangerous thing, and we have somehow landed in that kind of situation. You take an example of telecom. I think government is trying everything possible to ensure that it doesn't become a duopoly, and they're trying to help Vodafone survive one way or the other. So I think the airline industry also needs to do something like that, so that one operator doesn't corner 65-70% market share. So my thought on what IndiGo is, let's wait, let things settle down a bit, and only then look at buying. Undoubtedly, this kind of correction is a buying opportunity, but not yet.
Afternoon, firstly. Could it really turn out to be the Asian Paints moment for Interglobe? And I mean, it's not even an apple-to-apple comparison here. But for practical purposes, there's been only one listed aviation entity, and that's been Interglobe, right? We all know how widely that's held. But even a whiff of competition, could it do the same as to what happened to Asian Paints when there came Birla Opus?
It's not as you rightly said, it's not a like-to-like comparison, but there will be definitely a lot of steps which will ensure that their market share over a period of time comes down significantly. That much I'm sure. And the kind of commanding position they used to enjoy in Indian aviation for the last many years, I think they will not be in a position or allowed to enjoy that kind of market share. So things will be different for IndiGo. While Asian Paints, is not that critical for the government or the authorities. It's a competitive space. There are other players. Whereas aviation touches millions and millions of people on a daily basis. So it's a very, very sensitive situation for the government as well. And they can't do anything drastic. But over a period of time, I think they will do everything possible to erode the market share of IndiGo, which doesn't augur well from a valuation point of view and kind of a shareholder point of view. So as I'm saying, I'll be watching the space, but I definitely will not recommend a buy at this stage. I think we are yet to see a lot many things happening here. I'm not talking about flight disruptions. I think that's a thing of the past. Things will stabilize from here on. But as far as action and the penal kind of imposition of penal steps by government and the authorities, I think it's just the.
Would you be willing to stick your neck out? I mean, did we see a panic bottom on Interglobe today?
Yeah, it seems like, Aisha. I think especially given the fact that in the last half an hour or so, this looks like more of a short covering, which is coming back into the stock price over the last 15-20 minutes or half an hour or so, where we've seen a recovery from 4,900 levels to now on the verge of testing the 5,000 mark, 4,980 thereabouts for the stock price. So I think in that context, it looks like that maybe that floor of 4,900 should act as a decent short-term support. It doesn't mean that the stock price may not fall further, but at least over the near term, this could probably be a level or a pivot zone where the stock price may just about try to fluctuate around.
3.5% higher intraday from the bottom of the day, Kunal. That's the kind of recovery we've seen on Interglobe in the last 15 minutes alone. So we've seen, or maybe 20 to 25 minutes alone. So we've seen a very, very sharp recovery from the bottom of the day. And the stock obviously now up 1% in trade already. So seen a very sharp recovery. You want to keep your eye out on that one. Well, let's move across. We have plenty of movers, in fact, and within the broader market basket. Let's try and talk about a few other names. You've got an Asian Paints, which is roughly 4% lower. You have an Eris Life, which is up 12.5%. Very strong volumes. Let me go to Shivangi. Shivangi, Asian Paints, what's the take?
So Harsh, we've seen that these counters kind of have faced a bit of a weakness in the last few weeks. But if we talk about today's movement, after the lackluster move, we've seen there is a breakdown, and the stock has reached its 50 daily exponential moving average as well. Even on the monthly basis, we've given up most of the gains of the month, and we've actually broken an important crucial level. So there would be some more weakness that we are expecting in Asian paints for that matter. And I would recommend a little wait and watch here to again, start accumulating. But of course, one could do a short-term trading on a sell side. And we are expecting around about 2,700 levels on Asian paint for the immediate basis.
Okay, well, India's EV landscape also threw up a mixed picture for the month of November. In fact, two-wheelers have actually slipped 19% on a month-on-month basis, dragged by the steep drops that one has seen in a Bajaj, Ather, as well as in Ola, while three-wheelers managed to actually buck the trend, powered by Mahindra, Bajaj, and the surge in small fleet players. Sameer Dixit joins in with a quick roundup of the same.
The Indian EV industry, electric vehicle industry, witnessed a mixed trend in the month of November 2025 as per the data shared by FADA, the Federation of Auto Dealers. The commercial vehicle and the passenger vehicle segment, they registered a very impressive growth, but the electric two-wheeler, which is typically the driver of the overall industry, EV industry, it witnessed a slight dip. So when talking about the two-wheeler, electric two-wheeler, it witnessed a slight dip of 2.5% year-on-year basis, whereas the commercial vehicle segment, it registered an impressive growth of 202.7%. It is on year-on-year basis. Similarly, when it comes to the electric three-wheeler segment, the growth was quite electrified, and it has achieved a dominant 62.5% of market share. When it comes to the EV car market share, it has also registered a significant growth, and it now accounts for 3.8% of the overall passenger vehicle market. And it has been driven by a strong growth and the demand of 61.87% year-on-year basis. So the commercial vehicle and the passenger vehicle segment has shown good improvement. The growth is there, but the two-wheeler has shown a dip. When it comes to the particular company which has shown significant growth, so the TVS has led the electric two-wheeler space. They have sold more than 30,000 units for this month, and they have registered a growth of 11%. Similarly, Tata continues to dominate the passenger vehicle segment, and they have sold 6,153 units for this month of November. When it comes to Tesla, now Tesla has officially shared the number of the vehicles sold, and as per the data, 48 units in the PV segment. That's the Tesla selling number for the month of November. So overall, there has been significant growth in the EV space, but Tata Motors, which is typically one of the major driver of the passenger vehicle segment, it continues to dominate this particular space as well, and even in the electric commercial vehicle as well. They have sold 491 units, showing a slight improvement. So electric vehicle segment is growing. It is showing a growing trajectory. The electric two-wheelers in this particular space, it has shown a slight dip of roughly around 3% year-on-year basis.
Okay, now the other big mover, so first off, thank you so much, Sameer, for that. But the other big mover in trade is Keynes Tech. They've clarified that there are no negotiations to change the statutory auditors. Reports based on which some of these claims have been made are incorrect. There's an interpretation of the management's remarks is incorrect. In fact, that's what they're saying. They periodically assess opportunities and for the moment there is no plan to change any of that. 14.5% or maybe even 15% higher on Keynes Tech. Mind you, analyst community came out, spoke about how they found the Keynes Tech con call. There have been very low to no target price cuts in terms of the way the analysts saw or read into the comments of the management. They are in fact of the view that the receivables will likely unwind going forward, which is going into H2 of FY26. And if that unwind were to happen, you could likely see some bit of the overhang go away. Keynes Tech, Sudeep, would you at all venture? I mean, there are plenty of these big movers today. So let me first start off with Keynes Tech, post the IndiGo view that I took. Keynes Tech, would that be an interesting play at this point?
Well, I think so, Harsh. Look,
Okay.
it's corrected very, very sharply. I think it's came down about 70% from its peak, 50% from its peak. It was quoting at around a multiple of around 70. Now it's quoting at a multiple of around 40. So yes, if I believe in this space, then I think it's a good buy at current levels. There were the accounting issues which were highlighted, and I'm sure the management will take necessary corrective action. They have committed to that. Yesterday's con call was, I think, pretty decent. And I think the impression we gathered is that things will be set right. Whatever were perceived challenges in terms of accounting will be set right. The business is rock solid, and I'm sure the valuation upside from current level is definitely there. But of course, we know these are not cheap stocks, and we have to keep that in mind when you're buying.
Right. Okay, that's the take coming in on Keynes, which of course is rebounding quite a fair bit today. But back to Interglobe Aviation and more updates coming in. The CEO, Peter Elbers, is now saying in a very fresh video that just came in minutes back that the airline is back on its feet and operations are stable. He adds that lakhs of customers have already received refunds. Let's hear out what he had to say.
IndiGo is back on its feet and our operations are stable. We've let you down when a major operational disruption happened, and we're sorry for that. The beauty of air travel is that it brings together people, emotions, ambitions, and aspiration. And we know that you were traveling for various reasons. Thousands of you could not travel, and we are profusely apologetic about that. While we cannot undo the cancellations, I want to reassure that ever since, our entire IndiGo team has been working very hard. First and foremost for you, our valued customers. Initially, our first priority was to get all stranded and delayed customers safely to their destinations or back home. Then we started our refunds. No questions asked. Lakhs of customers have already received their full refunds, and we continue to do so on a daily basis. Rest assured that we are fully committed in getting this done. Most of the bags stuck at airports have already been delivered back to your homes, and our teams are working very hard on delivering the remaining ones very soon. And we also continue to address all customer needs. In parallel to addressing your needs as a customer, the restoration of IndiGo's network and flights was being done on a war footing. On December 5th, we could only fly 700 flights. Thereafter, gradually yet steadily improving to 1,500 on 6th, 1,650 on 7th, 1,800 yesterday, and today more than 1,800. As of yesterday, we are back of flying to all our 138 destinations in our network, and our on-time performance has also been normalized. Earlier, we had indicated to normalize between the 10th and the 15th of December. I can confirm now that today, as of December 9th, our operations are fully stabilized, which means flights reflecting on our website are scheduled to operate with an adjusted network.
Okay, so that is Peter Elbers, the CEO of Interglobe Aviation. That stock now up 1.5% and doing okay from the lows of the day, up 3.5 odd%. Let's talk about another couple of stocks. One is an Ajmera Realty. We spoke about this stock at the start of this show, closing trades. Kunal, do you have a view with regard to the real estate pack? That pack is perked up 1% odd. Godrej Properties seeing some good traction. So is Ajmera Realty, of course, not part of the Nifty Realty, but up 3.5 odd% nonetheless.
Yeah, I think many of these stocks are now coming back into a attractive risk-reward territory. So Godrej Properties, when it was sub the 2000 levels, DLF sub 690, 680 mark where the stock had formed a near-term bottom. I think all of these are strong levels where it seems like the risk score is getting a little bit more attractive. The indicators are entering into the oversold territory on the hourly charts, which means we should see the stock trying to form a bottom over here for maybe consolidate for the next couple of days. But then eventually, I think these support levels should hold on to the stock prices. So this could probably be a good point where traders may start to look entering selectively into the real estate stocks. But the momentum for real estate stocks would come back once the sentiment starts to become a lot more positive, and that could probably happen once you see the Nifty climbing back to say 26,000, 26,100 levels. That could be a point where we may start to see some acceleration in terms of momentum. But as of now, price-wise, yes, they start to look very attractive at current levels.
Well, Eternal is the other stock that you may want to focus in on. While the struggle, of course, up that 300 level really continues. But there was a comment made by the Blinkit CEO saying that, he's warning India's QCOM bubble may actually be close to bursting. Now, was he hinting at, competition within that space? Or, is there anything more to actually read into this? Because, Eternal right now has no immediate fundraisers lined up for themselves. So it seems like it's hinting towards competition within the entire QCOM space. But Shivangi, map the charts of Eternal for us because it's been struggling off late.
Absolutely, Aisha. Eternal has been one stock which has been a portfolio stock, but off late it has been struggling. But, if you look at the monthly basis chart, the stock has given up most of the gains in the last 3 months. And, we've seen that the counter has kind of continuously traded in a downward sloping channel. So I would recommend a little wait and watch here because, of course, today the stock is up and in action by more than 2.5%. But overall, the stock has been in quite a lot of weakness, and we would expect, the stock to retrace back. But right now it will be a little wait and watch over here. We're not expecting further downside, but the upside still remains capped here.
Sudeep, what's your take on this entire QCOM race and who will win it? And would it continue to be Eternal? And then if that's the case, sub 300, do you think it becomes a good accumulate or add?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I have been a fan of Eternal. In this kind of a space, it's a winner takes all. And that's what is being felt in the market. Swiggy has lost market share quite a bit. They are doing a lot of fundraise, and I'm sure they will want to spend money to gain back, claw back market share. But it's not easy. There is Zepto breathing down the neck. And the competition, as I think was mentioned, is definitely hotting up. But all said and done, Eternal has established a solid business. Their food delivery business is doing well. The quick commerce business is definitely the leader. They have gone into adjacencies by acquiring District from Paytm, which again has a potential to compete effectively with Book My Show going forward. So they have many levers on which they are operating. And the main two levers, which is food delivery and quick commerce, they are undisputedly market leaders, which give them a lot of leverage with the partners and the ecosystem. So I am positive on Eternal, and if I have to bet in this space, I will bet on Eternal. And yes, this dip below 300 is a good buying opportunity from a long-term perspective.
Okay. What about a delivery, Sudeep? Very quickly, do you like that one? Because they're going to help MSME or rather Indian MSMEs with their exports as well now. And stock is up 5% today. Not so sure whether it's on the back of that precisely, but is this also one of the businesses which is on the cusp of a bit of a turnaround of sorts?
Absolutely. In fact, I think I mentioned this in one of your programs as well. Amongst the platform companies, I think I do like delivery quite a bit. And I've been talking about it, unfortunately for last 6-8 months, and it's only started moving up now. I think, when delivery got listed, then there were a lot of promise. But the performance hasn't been good, but now things have started improving at delivery. Look, logistics is a 1,000-year-old business, and it's critical for business and commerce. Now, what delivery is trying to do is trying to digitize and do this in a much more organized manner. Obviously, there is a value to it, and if they can do it effectively in an environment where there is quick commerce and e-commerce is the predominant form of commerce, and they're becoming more and more powerful. I think for delivery, the sky is the limit. And getting into international logistics was a logical next step for delivery, and that's what they're doing. They did some synergistic acquisitions also in the recent past. There were some question marks for acquisition, but I think gaining size in this industry is important, and they are on the right track.
Okay, Sudeep, great to have you on the show today. Thanks for your time. Shivangi, lovely speaking with you as always. Let's begin winding up for the day. And Kunal, of course, we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Let me hand it over to Ashesha for the closing trades.
It turned out to be a choppy session in the last read. We did try to recover from opening lows, but we gave